Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all attendees, to members of the Royal University of Law and Economics, to members of Traju Association, and to our outstanding guest speaker today, Professor Upanyarit from the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications, and also Professor of Cybersecurity and Risk Management at RULE. My name is Paul Monet, and I currently serve as a program director for the International Master Programs in International Law at RULE. So let me start by saying that it's an absolute honor for me to open this webinar, which is dedicated to the drafting of the cybersecurity law in Cambodia and the growing importance that cybersecurity systems are to I'm sorry, I got someone muted me. I got muted. My apologies for that. So as I was saying, it's an honor for me to introduce our guest speaker today, Professor Upanyarit, for this webinar dedicated to cybersecurity and especially the drafting of the cybersecurity law in Cambodia and why the drafting of the cybersecurity law matters in Cambodia, right? So just to provide a brief background before we start, allow me to add that this webinar will be the first of a series that is being co-organized by Traju Association and the international programs in international law at RULE, okay? And this series will address the legislative agenda in Cambodia with the objective to disseminate legal knowledge and provide unique analysis on major legal issues affecting the Cambodian society. So that being said, I wish you all a very pleasant webinar today. And I thank again, Professor Upanyarit for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paul. Yeah, thank you so much, Paul, and good morning, everyone, all attending here. My name is Tan Kim. I am the moderator of today's webinar, and today we are very honored and pleased to have Mr. Upanyarit to be our speaker today on the cybersecurity. And we're going to explore together why cybersecurity law matters to all of us and our security. But before we go into the presentation, I would like to please allow me to give a brief background of our speaker. Mr. Upanyarit is the Director of the Information and Communication Technology Security of the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications, and he's a former head of National Cambodia Computer Emergency Response Team. He has been involved in the development of the cybersecurity, ICTs, and other related regulations in Cambodia for the last 30 years. Mr. Upanyarit is one of the well-known cybersecurity experts in Cambodia and in the region. He has been invited to present in international conference, forums, and seminars, and he was awarded with as top 30 agent CISO 2021 by IDG, top APAC, top APAC technology leader, top 100C group board, CISO 2020 by Forcepoint and Information Security Leadership Achievement 2016 by ISC2. Mr. Wu has been the research fellow at the Center for Inclusive Digital Economy, Asian Vision Institution, and professor at the Royal University of Law and Economics, specializing in cybersecurity law, and a senior advisor to the Cambodia Digital Tech Association. He's the founder of the first cybersecurity awareness website, ISAC Cambodia Cybersecurity Cyber Study Network, CSN, founder of Cyber Use Cambodia, and chairman of the Cloud Security Alliance Cambodia chapter. So I'm pretty sure that our speaker has extensive experience in the field of cybersecurity law. So all attendees, please do not hesitate to actually involve in the presentation, because we're going to have the Q&A session, and but feel free to drop any questions in our chat box, and we during the presentation, and we're going to go through it together after the presentations. So without further ado, I would like to give this floor to our speaker.
Yes, thanks, Kim, and thanks, Paul, as well, and thank the Sala, Traju, and also the team for organizing this kind of the first webinar in this initiative. It's an honor for me to be in and also to kick off. So usually the kick off of any initiative need to be successful, great, in order to attract for the next webinar. So let me share my presentation, and I am ready to kick it off. Okay, just want to check everyone sees clear, right? Yeah. So in this morning, I will talk about an idea, some insights, why we need cybersecurity law, or we can say broader, why we need a regulation to regulate cybersecurity industry area. Why is matter? Okay. As already introduced by our moderator, so let me go ahead quicker in a summary way, in a not a formal one, but not informal ones. I am director at the Ministry of Post and Telecom. Also, I'm a professor and researcher on cyber issue, and also I'm a public speaking. I've been invited to many conference, forum, discussion, and also I'm an advisor and a consultant on cybersecurity area domain. And finally, I'm also a community builder, community to build a cyber community in Cambodia for the geeks, for the cyber security professional, for the student, or for anyone who are interested to learn, to know, to explore cyber security domains. That I'm welcome to join the club and to grow it together. And besides all of my career, as mentioned, I received international recognitions for my effort so far on cybersecurity initiative, cybersecurity driven, and also the building awareness so far in Cambodia. Those are my international award and recognition. So these are the insights that I'm going to discuss for the next 1 hour. So I will talk about the concept. Sorry. Okay, I will talk about the concept. I will discuss about the threat and the player who are involved in the cybersecurity domain, and also the option available for taking into considerations when we discuss about cyber regulations. So I'm just taking your attention to this video. This is kind of the cyber attack, real time, currently in what we cannot see, that we call it online or virtual or cyberspace. That is what happened. So the question I'm going to ask, as everyone come from the legal background, also academics, are we living in cyber war now or what? Because you see, it attack each others on the cyberspace that we cannot see by our eyes. It need to be have a system, equipment in place in order to see what happens in cyberspace. So the question I'm going to ask, are we in cyber war? And also, if I talk about the cyber war, it might be a challenging one because it's about the threshold. How we define a cyber war? When the attack that constitutes the cyber war? Because it related to the countermeasures, related to the self-defense, related to some response, if it is an act of war. So it's not an easy answer question for all of you. Then my question, moving back, do we live in cyber peace? Anyone can answer, right? So are we in peace or war right now? Yeah, that matter that is not easy to answer. Right. When we talk about the cyber security, someone mix, yeah, muted. Okay, when we talk about cyber security, there are a lot of attributes that associate with it, as in this picture, right? It's about the strategy, it's about the malware, it's about the internet, it's about the legal, it's about the government, it's about the private, it's about the software, it's about privacy, it's about an app that you are using every day, and it's about how to make strong password from a end user point of view. So many things that associate, that attribute with cybersecurity. That is not enough yet, what I talk. So it's also moving to, if we talk about, we can let I show you, if we talk about cyber war, it's about the botnet, it's about the crack, it's about how you are using the pirate software, unlicensed, it's about the exploit, it's about the darknet, it's about the worm cyber attacks, right? And lastly, at the other side of it is about the compliance. Have you done your security protection properly? You follow the standard, the guideline that industry putting into place, or you just do it whatever you want? That is compliant involved. So in this slide alone, you can see many issues associated just with the word cybersecurity, right? So focus on the core, the term, then it comes to terminology itself. So you might be heard a lot about the word cybersecurity. As this one we put the title Cybersecurity Law. But what is the cybersecurity coming from? Actually, it is one word as this one, cybersecurity, or it two words, cyber and then plus security. We put a space. You might see that some they write cybersecurity just one word, some they put cyber and then space security. So these two words is mean the same or different. Yeah, as you are a lawyer, as you are a legal background, as you are going to be a law consultant or whatever, what does it mean for you? The same or different? That you need to be carefully clarified in term agreement or any contract or any engagement. Okay, so what about ICT security? What is that? What about information security? What about digital security? What about online security, IT security, network security, computer security, and internet security? What are those terms? What are the difference between each one? Okay, for general user, you know, I encourage them. You do not need to be differentiate. Just it mean how to protect yourself from any cybersecurity issue. But in terms of you are a lawyer, you are a legal background, or you are an academician, that's matter the most. So we need to clarify in terms of definition, and I leave the answer to all of you as the legal practitioners or lawyers to check to get the solution on it based on your engagement or negotiation. Why is matter? It's matter a lot. It's about perspective. What do you think Facebook platform is? What do you think? On another side of the world, they think that Facebook is the platform provide freedom of speech. Anyone can express any idea on that. But another side of the world, they think that it is an information warfare platform that need to be restricted, that need to be blocked, that need to be monitored, that need to be carefully governed. That's it. It's about perspective. So if you choose one side, you need to develop, you need to have a definition exactly, you need to have a policy based on your perspective. But if you are at the other side, of course, you need to have a policy definition and based on the other side. So when you are dealing with, if you are on the right side and dealing with on the left side, how can you deal with it if you have a different perspective on that? That's matter when we are doing the law or any kind of our legislation. Right. So moving to the concept. This is the simple concept of, let's say, security, IT security or information security. I don't differentiate it. I just keep it once. Yeah, it's about the CIA. It's called CIA. See, it came from the word confidentiality. So when we talk about cybersecurity, when we talk about information security, it's about this key term is very important. confidentiality is mean information, data need to be protected carefully and authorized to authorized personnel only. Allow only person on that be authorized only. That about confidentiality. Whatever we do, we need to protect the confidentiality. Not everyone can see it. Only person that we give the access permission. That confidentiality. The second point is about integrity. So whatever is that data that store, information that store, or any access that valuable to us need to be preserved and need to be accurate. No one can edit, no one can alter, no one can delete, or no one can transfer. And we protected the integrity of the data, of the information. And the lastly is about the availability. All information, all data that belong to us, when we want to access it, it should be available to us, available to the owner of the data, to the owner of the information. That's the CIA threat of the information security. So whatever we do, whatever we develop, whatever we are to put mechanism or control is about how to balance this thing, how to secure these key three areas of the cybersecurity or information security. Okay, yeah, I'm moving forward. Let's move to the cyber risk 101, the simple 101, right? Simple things. What happened? This is, we have the threat, okay? The threat is something that can potentially cause damage to information access. Yeah? It's something that can damage your information, your data. We call it threat. That in this case, I put a fault, okay? I put it, I represent as a fraud. And on at the other side, we have our information asset. So it's any information that's stored in digital manner, and it is valuable to organization. I represent it as the information asset that very valuable to us. So in here, I put as a ship, little ship. Yeah. So in nature, when the fox see the little ship, little lamb, little lamb, they will attack. Sure. Okay. So in order to protect, I put the countermeasure. Countermeasure here, it refers to the fence, the area that protect the lamb. Okay, that protect it. But actually, the countermeasure that we put have the vulnerability. Then, what is vulnerability? Vulnerability is the weakness that have in your organization, have in your system, have in your computer, that can be exploited by the threat. So if you put like this way, you know, the threat can come in from the vulnerability point. Okay, and then we go in and eat all your cute, your little sheep, your lamb. Okay, and eat everyone. And the threat is going by the vulnerability. But if the vulnerability is fixed, so your asset is secure, then they cannot go in to catch or to eat your asset. Let me compare back. Let me put back into your digital life, okay? The threat represent what? The threat representing by the hacker, the computer virus, these simple things, okay? And what is your information asset? It is your data, your information that's stored in your computer or in your hard disk or in your backup or anywhere that is valuable to you. So if your computer using pirate software, if your computer do not update, if you click anything on the link, then it will create a vulnerability. If you use unlicensed software, it already have a vulnerability. Then the virus can go in, the hacker can go in to steal your data easily. If you not update your computer annually properly, regularly, then there is a vulnerability that attacker, that the virus, computer virus, can go in and exploit and steal your data. That's the simple concept of the risk that can actually happen and then intrude into your system. Okay? And it comes to the question. And then you can reflect back to just what I just mentioned about the risk. How many of you own a personal computer? Okay, people attend here. I saw mostly they have a computer in France. Okay, oh, I think a lot. We have a lot of participants here, 100 plus. I think most of have personal computer. Okay, thank you. How many of you have Windows license? I think it's not much among 200 candidates. Not much have Windows license. Okay. How many of you have Office license? Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of this using license. No? And what about antivirus? What about Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Reader, IDM, Internet Download Manager, or the other app? And when did you update your system? So I have just a few questions, 6 questions only, to activate your mind and to think that are you secure or not. If anything of this you said no, then you have the vulnerability that can attract the hacker into your system. Okay? Yes. So what are the response? What are the response? We saw the risk. Yeah, I explained all the risks and what are the response that we might take. Here are the 3 response that I concluded. In terms of personal, we need to be a digital citizenship. We need to be we are digital citizen, but it's not mean that we are digital citizenship. Digital citizenship refer to your responsibility to secure yourself, your ecosystem, or to understand how the tech operate. So are you using secure password? Do using e-commerce properly? All of these are the digital citizenship. Okay. In terms of personal, we need to do that way. In terms of global, they discuss harmonization of law. They discuss cooperation to tackle cybercrime. They discuss about norm and confidence building measures. They discuss about global technical standard, and they discuss on how to exchange good practices. And in terms of national, we talk about national policy framework. We talk about law, regulation, guideline that the government will be put into adoption and usage. And we talk about the operational mechanism. We talk about interagency cooperation, capacity building, and international cooperation. So those are the key areas that we need to respond in terms of the risks that happen in cyberspace. Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about national response. That I pick only one of it is about the national policy framework that we are going to talk. So before we are going to talk about the law, how it should be or whatever, I'm showing you about the threat that have been happened so far in Cambodia. Okay. Yeah. Anyone muted? Yes, please. In 2012, we got an attack from it declared by Anonymous Philippines. They attack us and attack to the government website and attack to company because they are not happy during that time when we have the first we had the ASEAN meeting in Cambodia at that time. So we got the cyber attack, but at that time we are not clearly sure what exactly is that, what happening, because our capability during that time is limited in terms of cyber defense or cyber response. And in 2013, we got an anonymous Cambodia that I always raise it up as the lesson learned because they are not happy with the government. Cambodia government, so they declare that they are anonymous Cambodia. They attack government website. They're using some technique that we call it script kiddie, and finally 5 of them arrested and put into jail, and then now all of them are currently working in industry, and maybe some also working in government to support the government. Those are some of the threats that happening. And also we have from Cambodia, Delhi, that mentioned Cambodia as a NSA collection point in 2013. You know, the Edward Snowden, everyone aware of him. He is the one that whistleblower in the United States capability, civilian capability. So they mentioned that Cambodia is also the NSA collection point. And also Cambodia has been hit by Ddos attack in 2018. What is Ddos attack? It means jam your internet. You cannot use it because the jamming flood with the package should flooding to your internet traffic, so you cannot access it, or it overwhelming. So that's why that's considered the biggest DDoS attack in Cambodia history in 2018 during that time, right? And big major company also got attacked. And this is what's happening right now. It's about the ransomware. On the left side earlier, they have the gun and they point at you and ask for the key to open the safe cabinet, safe box to steal the money. But now no need. They have the key and you are supposed to bring the money to them. And for what? For the key to lock the computer, to lock the file, and then get it back to you. That's what's happening right now. It's turning 180 degrees from the past and from the present. Why is matter? Because every file in your computers, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, photos, video, all of it encrypted. And you cannot open it unless you pay them. It's called the ransomware. Okay. And it's happened a lot in Cambodia, both individual and also industry and also the private sector. So they got these impacts. They got a lot of attack from the ransomware, and your file's gone if you don't have any backup in place. That's what's happening right now in our country, okay? And this is our future. This is our future. It means Internet of Things. Everything will be connected to the internet from your home, especially in terms of camera, in terms of your smartwatch, smart TV, smart refrigerator, smart aircon, smart cooking machine, everything connected to internet, and those can be hacked. If you are connected to the internet, that hackable, okay? For example, if your refrigerator connect to the internet and somebody get in your refrigerator and then put your system to 30 degrees, so your refrigerator that's supposed to be cold, but then it become a hot tube. Then you have no choice because they attack and change the firmware. You need to sell it up, right? If they hack into your TV, your system can be the TV system can be compromised, and you cannot see any channel anymore. If they hack into your car, that's many problems will be in the near future, okay? And your house can become a battlefield, and your house can become a stepping stone for them to attack the others. That's our coming future, and you rely it slowly and slowly. You see it already, because when you go to buy a new washing machine, you also can can control it from your smartphone. When you are at office, you can control it and to put the washing machine on, right, from your smartphone. That's already happened. This is what you can see, yeah, from the TV. Somehow when you open it, it asks you to update. That's it. We are moving to that. Everything need to update because every equipment is run by software. And if it run by software, of course, it can be attacked, it can be hacked, and it can be controlled remotely by the attacker. There are some just of cyber threat example that starting from your computers and then going to what? To your smartphone, and then going to what? To your Internet of Things, to your home appliance, and what's next? That's the case of Stuxnet. I want to be, I want to show here that I give you everyone to be aware what the computer virus can go far beyond your computer, beyond your smartphone, or beyond your what? Your home appliance. Stuxnet is happened long time ago. I forgot the year, but is the one who attacked to the Iran's centrifuges, nuclear facility in Iran. So this computer virus infected by USB, not from the internet, and infected to the nuclear facility Iran. And it rolled back the Iran program for 10 years. You can see the powerful of this inside this video.
Stuxnet is a new type of weapon, a digital worm, and it was used in the first cyber attack known to have caused physical damage in the real world. While they admitted to it, the United States and Israel allegedly created Stuxnet in order to slow Iran's effort to build nuclear weapons. The worm targeted the computers that ran the machines used to turn uranium into nuclear fuel. The Stuxnet worm spun many of the centrifuges out of control, blowing them up, all without the Iranians figuring out what was causing the explosions. Eventually, though, Stuxnet got loose and spread across the world. infecting computers in more than 100 countries. The worm was quickly noticed and the operation publicly exposed. Cyber experts were alarmed by Stuxnet and feared its potential for destruction. While this worm only attacked specific equipment related to Iran centrifuges, experts fear that the same digital technology could be used to manipulate the computers that run a huge swath of industrial activity and infrastructure projects, like factories, dams, and electrical grids. Disrupting or destroying any of them could cause enormous physical damage and could potentially kill large numbers of people. This has led some to suggest that cyber weapons have the potential to be weapons of mass destruction. And just as international treaties were created to control nuclear weapons, many countries and individuals are calling for treaties to control the use of cyber weapons. But that is unlikely to happen anytime soon, because cyber weapons pose unique challenges. They're often designed to be covert, so victims may not even realize that they were hit by a cyber attack. For example, while the Stuxnet worm was destroying the centrifuges, it sent false information to the Iranian scientists' equipment, pretending that everything was operating normally. Even if victims do discover that they were attacked, they may not be able to determine who attacked them, because hackers can mask their identities and cover their digital tracks. This makes it harder to enforce potential cyber weapon rules because countries may not know whom to attribute a violation to, and as a result, may not know who to punish. On top of these challenges, there's no international consensus on what the cyber rules would even be. And so, without any rules, countries are building up their cyber defenses, making it harder for cyber attacks to succeed. But there's no perfect defense against a cyber attack. For example, the Iranian nuclear facility was underground and air-gapped, completely cut off from the internet. So those who wanted to damage the Iranian program couldn't sneak Stuxnet into the facility online. Nevertheless, they targeted the hardware suppliers for the facility and put it on their electronic equipment, which eventually made its way into the nuclear facility. This infiltration tactic makes it near impossible to completely protect any system from cyber attacks. With globalized supply chains, every country is vulnerable to foreign cyber weapons. So many focus on building resiliency, making sure that important systems and infrastructure can quickly recover after a cyber attack. And countries are also racing to develop stronger cyber weapons, hoping to deter other countries from attacking out of fear of retaliation. They are also seen as a new tool to respond to extreme security threats like terrorist attacks, or even to counteract sanctions. More countries than ever are armed with cyber weapons. And every country, rich or big and small,
យើងត្រឡប់មកវិញបាទដូចបានឃើញក្នុងវីដេអូនេះហើយគឺចង់បញ្ជាក់ sorry I'm speaking to myself. Okay, welcome back. So as you seen in this video, is highlight about it's called the capability of the Stuxnet. It call it a cyber, not a computer virus, but it a cyber weapons that can finally kill the people if it being that way, you know. So it is the powerful of the code that you write that can exploit the whole facility, the whole building. And the next case study I put you on is the Bangladesh bank heist. It's about the stealing the money from the central bank of the Bangladesh. It's mostly they want to steal around 1 billion, but actually only 81 million successful transfer to from the bank. The other has been blocked or has been blocked and known and suddenly known and then block it. Otherwise, around 1 billion will be successful stolen from the central bank of the Bangladesh. The third case and the final case for today is about the hacking of the Ukraine power grid from the computer malware as well, from the virus as well during the winter time, that everyone need the electricity and to power the heating system, but suddenly the power grid has been hacked and compromised and cannot provide electricity. So you can imagine how the situation will be if you are cold and without the heat. Then people can die, you know, because of the cold weather. That's also the case study, and I put the little video for your kind explanation. Okay. And this one is about the Colonial Pipeline. Is about the gas company, petrol gasoline company in United States that has been hacked and cannot provide gas, cannot provide petroleum. You know, the system has been broke down, and then affect the people who need the petrol every day, so they can deliver it. How the situation will be, you know, that's the power of the malware.
A reused password might not feel like a big security hole until it leads to a state of emergency. Colonial Pipeline is one of the largest oil pipelines in the US, moving refined fuel to industry markets from Texas to New Jersey. It made headlines in May 2021 when it became the victim of a ransomware attack by a group identified as DarkSide. This attack infected some of the pipeline's computer systems, forcing the company to shut the pipeline down for several days. This caused gas shortages in some East Coast states, higher prices at the pump, and President Biden to declare a state of emergency. We'll cover the basics of how this ransomware attack happened and steps taken to restart the pipeline. But this isn't the only ransomware attack that happened in 2021. Learn about some other hacks by clicking the link above or in the description below. So, what is a ransomware attack? Ransomware is a type of malware that blocks access to an organization's data or computer systems until a ransom is paid, usually in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the ransom of choice for hackers due to the mistaken belief that the currency cannot be traced. This is the type of attack hackers chose to launch on Colonial Pipeline's computer systems. On May 6, attackers gained access to the Colonial Pipeline network through an exposed VPN password, stealing 100 gigabytes of data that they later threatened to leak onto the internet. During a House committee hearing in June, investigators said a Colonial Pipeline employee likely used this password in another location too, exposing it during a different data breach. On May 7th, the ransomware attack began and the pipeline operations ceased. Attackers demanded a ransom of 75 Bitcoins worth $4.4 million, which Colonial Pipeline paid to regain access to their systems. 5 days later, on May 12th, Colonial Pipeline restarted operations. On June 7th, a month after Colonial Pipeline paid the ransom, the US Department of Justice recovered most of it, 63.7 Bitcoins worth $2.3 million. Is your organization revisiting policies and procedures to minimize the risk of a ransomware attack? Why or why not? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and be sure to hit that like button too.
Yeah, so as you can see from the beginning, I show you the threats that can happen from your computer, your smartphone, your device, and it comes to the industry control system like the nuclear facility, and also the electricity grid system, and also the banks that I show you, the Bangladesh bank, and also the gas, the petroleum station, the petroleum pipeline facility in United States. So what has that thing happen? What has that? That we call it critical infrastructure or critical information infrastructure sector. So what we need in cybersecurity, mostly we regulate by sector base, that we call it critical infra. Like the Bangladesh bank, we call it financial sector service here. You can see financial sector service. And for what? And the other, okay, let me choose the pants. And here, a financial service. That the Bangladesh bank. And the other things that can be happen like the dams and defense industry-based energy. Energy is about what? Is about the electricity grid. Yeah, electricity grid. And also the other like government facility, emergency telecommunication service. So those are, we call it critical information infrastructure that we need to define and need to be regulated and protected in cybersecurity domains. Right? And this, we call it CII. And the CII is different from country to country. Okay, for us, we are not defining it yet as we do not have a regulation in place. But for the other country like Singapore, like Thailand, like Malaysia or Indonesia, or the other like in Europe, United States, Japan, and the other, they already define it. Which sector that they consider critical and need to be defended and protected. And what are the players involved in the ecosystem of the cybersecurity regulation? First, we call it CII operators. CII operator, it refers to any agency or any organization who running a critical services that will be defined. For example, in here, who are they? Sorry. Yeah, for example, here, who are they? The CII operator, the commercial bank in financial sector, the ISP and telecom in telecommunication services, the healthcare industry, what are they? All the hospital. They are in the healthcare sector. And energy sector, who are they? Electricity do Cambodia, EDC is inside the energy sector. What else? It's water, utility, all the rest. I cannot count, but all of them we call it CII operator that need to be carefully protected. Why? During the past 10 years, the system that operate by those operators not connected at all. But in order to provide efficient, effective services to the citizen, to the client, to the customer, all the system need to be put connected and somehow it's online in their way, you know. So if it is connected and it is online, it can be hacked. For example, water utility. There is a case study about the water utility. They hack the water system and raise the chemical substance inside the water treatment facility. So when the water flow to the citizen house, it can be the chemical, it can be up from standard so that affect the citizen health. And we don't know it. Somehow we don't know it. That's just one example. If someone attack to the electricity grid, all electricity in the city or in one area has been blacked out, cannot provide electricity. And if they attack to the central, the bank system down, you cannot open you cannot use your card, you cannot use your app, you cannot use your ATM. That create a situation that the everyone will be panicked. That we need to carefully manage this person, okay, this entity. It calls the CII operator. And how we manage the commercial bank, how we manage the telecom and ISP, how we manage them? We manage by, it's called lead agencies. Lead agency refer to the sector lead, regulator sector lead. For example, the commercial bank lead by central bank, the ISP and telecom lead by the telecom regulatory regulator of Cambodia, and the other is lead by their lead agencies. This is what we is supposed to be by this way, and also we need to think about cybersecurity service provider. We regulate them as well because they are the one who provide cybersecurity business in Cambodia to the private sector, to the government. So they need to be licensed and qualify their people, right? In terms of something happen, we know who to contact. Are they qualified enough to provide this kind of services? And also, we also thinking about the individual who have the cybersecurity skill and knowledge capability. We also thinking about the skill framework and the recognition that they can have and to operate the business in Cambodia. As an individual, they should have certain certification and they can use it to manage or to operate or to work on their skill. But not every cybersecurity skill need to be licensed. Some specific only because they are critical. So we think that they should apply for the certification to run that services. It's applied to cybersecurity service provider as well. We not targeted the person, the company who are installing antivirus to ask for the licensed cybersecurity service provider. No. We target the big company who are running, for example, testing services, security testing services that impacts the organization the most. They have much of the critical data. They need to be licensed. And lastly, who are involved is the coordination institution. We need to have the governance structure that taking care of all these players, you know, monitor, manage, compliant, all these players. So we need a high level coordination government coordination body to coordinate and to manage not just these players, but also government and international one as well. That's also part of the players that should be inside our regulation. And yes, of course, for more detail, yeah, I have a lot of detail about what I'm discussed, what I'm taught. You can download this perspective. I put the QR code here. You can scan it and you can see the document and you can read it for this weekend. Yeah, it's mentioned about the option that available, also how the regulation is look like, and what we should manage and who we should manage. It's mentioned in detail that I cannot put in here in this perspective papers. You can search also on the internet and you can feel free to read it and maybe to question me later on if you have any issue on that. Yeah, and it come to the end of my discussion and is of my talk. So I'm open for the question and answer session before we closing our webinar today. Yeah, I give back to the moderator, Mui Kim. That is your turn now.
Okay, thank you, Professor Upadhyay, for your informative presentation. I think we got a lot of knowledge and real example of what has happened in the world and in Cambodia regarding the cyber attack. So yeah, it's time for Q&A. If anyone here has any question, please feel free to raise your question.
Yeah, I can see the question in the chat box.
Yes, we
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Also, if anyone willing to unmute and show your beautiful face, also really appreciate and welcome. So let me answer the chat box first. First, does Cambodia have the law to protect cybersecurity? Specific or rated law? If the cyber attack happen, what are the solution to the user? Okay, Miss, we put let's make. Okay, let me answer it. Actually, we don't have a cybersecurity law yet, and also we don't have a specific cyber crime law yet at this moment. But what happened so far, if we get the guy who are doing bad thing like the hack your Facebook account or stealing your information, of course, we have the criminal code that have some provision that can be used and to punish the bad guy at this moment. But the criminal code do not have any extensive new type of scam, new type of tactic of the attacker very specifically. But anyway, we can use it so far. The criminal code is about the information technology offense. You can look for it inside our criminal code. And the rest of the law, I think we have like press law, we have e-commerce law, we have telecommunication law, or we have some consumer protection and a little bit more like child copyright matter for child pornography. Okay, yeah, that's my answer. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can move on to the second questions, unless the first question and then the person who asked the first question, Ms. Let's May, has any further questions to the answer that Professor Upanrat has responded. No.
Hello, Wong.
Yes.
First, I would like to respect to the speaker. For more question that for the second question, I would like to ask if there are some cyber attack that happen, what the user should do to prevent or do any complaint mechanism or something.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, for example, if your Facebook got hacked, of course, you can put a file a complaint to the law enforcement. And the way you put a or any security incident, can anti-cybercrime department. You can search anti-cybercrime department ឬក៏ you search នគរបាលប្រឆាំងបទល្មើសបច្ចេកវិទ្យា then you can see their page and they have the instruction to do online complaint. Put file and online. If you have any problem, you can file it. That's the way how to make it easy for everyone during these pandemics. So you can put online complaints. Yeah, there is a place for you to put.
Yes, Wong, I have one more question. What if like Wong already give example, like when we have like file and the hacker like like they told us to give them $500 to give that file back. So what is the solution?
Easy one. Ransomware, that is kind of ransomware. They ask you to pay money in Bitcoin. If you don't know how to pay in Bitcoin, we don't talk anymore, all your file will gone. Okay, that's the case. Secondly, if you know how to pay by Bitcoin, if you pay, there are many things can happen. First, of course, you can get your file back first. Secondly, maybe not sure because you do not know how the technique, how the process, how the process to unlock your file. Secondly, third, it may be not sure that they will give you the key. Are a loyal customer. It means that, oh, I attack you, you give the money, so I will come to visit you often, so I can have more money on the way. Okay, so based on this, it's you know, it's less chance to get the file back from Cambodia user in for user in Cambodia. So the best way to do it is to prevent. It means that you need to back up your file regularly. Back up your file and put offline. Don't back up and connect to your computer always. No, you connect in your hard drive, you copy all the file out and then keep your hard drive at home or somewhere safe. Do not connect always with your computer, because if your computer got malware, it spread to your hard drive and then you all gone everything. So my best answer to this ransomware: back up and back up. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so the
Can I have some questions? Did you hear me? Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
David.
Good afternoon, Professor Panarat. Today I got some question, like take aside from law, but we have to be crucially thinking about the technical. So like what the question is that, like currently, do we have any like secure technical to protect our website? Many kind of the business who have operates and establish the fintech. I mean, like for example, like currently in Ministry of Commerce, we have the established the Cambodian trade. It's kind of the online platform. So what I concern is, if any attacker from outside, they want to attack and steal the data from us. So do we have any assure to make like encrypt our information securely in order to protect our customer in locally and internationally? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, David. It's a bit technical, you know, but I just give you some short suggestion or short comment. There is no 100% secure. You need to have this in mind. Although you have the best solution, the best people, nothing 100% secure. First. Secondly, in terms of security, we do it by risk management. It means we analyze all the risks and we can see that what risk that we accept, what risk that mitigate, what risk that we will transfer, or something like that, you know. Thirdly, for your website, for your example, before launching any online platform, not just a website, app or whatever, we do a technical, we call it penetration testing. It means we scan all your, scan the website for the loophole, and then we fix it before we launching those applications. Fifth, you know, we do it regularly. We don't test one time and then we put it gone. No, we do it regularly. because the vulnerability can happen anytime. And the sixth one, you know, is about the defense in depth. Remember this. We cannot protect by just one layer. For example, if you protect your home, you have the front gate, you have the door, you have the lock, you have the inside room. Security is the same. You cannot say that you protect only the website. No, you need to protect the people who are working on the development of the website itself. You need to protect the computer that all programmers are using. It's not using pirate. You need to have a proper process management in place every corner. Otherwise, the risk still happen. Okay, but I recommend one thing that you must do. You do scanning. It's called pen testing before launching the system, and do it regularly. Okay, just a short answer for you.
Okay, thank you. I think we need to move on. If there are no further follow-up questions, we need to move on with the questions in the chat box, because there are some questions there, and we have the question from Savandika. Sorry for keeping you waiting. For the first question from Savandika, we have that's the implementations of our value-added tax in Cambodia recently on Meta of charging VAT on the sales of ads to advertisers, both business and personal, is a threat to the national internet gateway. If it is, what should we do to prevent that harm?
You know, Lida, thanks for the question, but I don't catch the meaning of the question exactly, because one is the VAT VAT itself, and one is the personal threat to another thing. So how to connect this matter together? I don't see any dot yet. You know, it's your obligation to pay VAT, the obligation of any business, because it's follow the law of the e-commerce, and it is international practice that every e-commerce need to do it. It many have to do it based on the legal of each jurisdiction that need to do it. But I'm not sure about how it's threat to the internet gateway. I cannot elaborate on that.
Thank you, Professor. The thing is that I just wonder if it's related to the cybersecurity as well, because like whenever we need to pay the VAT tax, we have to provide some of the information about our organization, and also like some personal information as well. So I think is it something that the hacker can easily to attack or to get our information, or it's something behind the implementation of value-added tax or something like this. That is my wonder, and I just want to ask if it's really harmful for us in the future.
I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't link with international with the internet gateway as your question. It's for general one. Example, if you go to buy in Amazon, okay, if you go to shopping e-commerce, Amazon or any local e-commerce, then you put your credit card, your name, and then pricing they will deduct. And based on your question, you are worried that this information will be stolen or will be hacked by the hacker, right? So in this case, it's a matter of the platform operators. For example, like Amazon, how they store your data properly, how they store your credit card number, your 3-digit code at the back of the card, how they put your name on that. It's a part of, it's called it data privacy or data protection. That is the duty of the platform itself, that need to write the application to secure those information for the customers. That's another part of the law that might be a good opportunity next time that I can talk about it later on, is about data protection and privacy. What is the responsibility of the platform operator need to do, right, to secure your stuff? So if this case happens, you can sue Amazon, or you can sue anyone that their system has been hacked and your information has been stolen. Okay. Yes, next, please. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you need me to read the question for you, Professor? We have the question from Jill Sucheta. Following Professor panel elaboration, seems like the more we depend on technology, the more risk we have. As such, what will be the solution to mitigate such risk in the future? What should individuals do? And what strategy should the OTC put in place to prevent severe impacts?
Yeah, thank you. Sucheta is 3 questions, but endless answer. Okay. You say that we depend on technology, of course. More risk will have, yes, of course. Of course. And how to mitigate the risk? Yes, that we need to do a risk assessment. You know, for example, Cambodia do not own technology. So how to minimize the risk if that equipment, if that technology is not from us, you know? For example, if you use the app, that the app is not built by your own, how can you trust it? That's a matter of, okay, this app is popular or not, this app, how many people are using it, this equipment, this device, how many countries are using it. So we might evaluate the trust based on that, and then we buy that equipment because, oh, not just us alone who are using it. Many people around the world are using it, so somehow of trust there, so we believe that they are not putting any harm of the chip. That's the way we do, because we do not have our own technology. We do not have all our own equipment. That most of the technology we import. So we put some policy in place, but if we put some policy in place, we need to consider about the trade barrier, and WTO will come into play. So many connecting dots together. If you put any policy restriction on the technology, for example, we need to consider another impacts. Oh, what is our WTO then commitment, that free flow of goods, free flow of technology, or free flow of services? But why you impose restriction on my software, on my technology? That many things have happened if you put it. And what should individual do? Of course, individuals should do cyber hygiene. We call it cyber hygiene, like you do the COVID. Yeah, you wearing mask, you clean your hands, you not stay near each other, you don't go to any crowd place. For cyber security, individual, of course, using software license, don't click this, don't click that, use password length, for example, 12 character. That's a cyber hygiene that you need to practice in terms of individual level. And the next is, what is the strategy of government? Of course, there are 2 now. You can review it. One is about digital economy and policy framework for 2021-2035. The other one is about the digital government policies that 2022-2035. Those are 2 important key milestones of the government commitment to move Cambodia to digital economies, and with the confidence of the security as the baseline. That's the main one, and the rest, you can see the science technology roadmap in Cambodia. You can see others, many policies of the government. That's the government commitment. But for the practical, for the activity, that will come in due course. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe Pisal is raised hand a long time already. Maybe we give a chance to him. Yeah, to put the question.
Thank you so much, Professor,
for
your very insightful presentations. Well, talking about in fact, I have 3 questions, but I think you already answered one of my questions already. that has been asked by the other participants. So talking about internet gateway, Professor, would you please tell a few words about the recent criticism from NGO and from international NGO that criticize about sub-degree, the new sub-degree on internet gateway, and maybe you can shed some light about legal frameworks that have been in place, perhaps in the frameworks of your ministry, and the future plan, perhaps some few words also. I would like to know about the legal frameworks, because as you mentioned that we have many regulations, many law, but it's kind of a patchwork. So do you think that we should harmonize all those regulations, and what would be your idea on this? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bizarre, for two questions. One is regarding to internet gateway. For this one, I'm sorry, I'm say that because I am not the person who are involving in this internet gateway matter, so I cannot understand what is rational, much rational behind it, besides just seeing the sub-degree as you've seen it and seeing all the new as you've seen it as well. And but I aware a government already respond that the implementation of the internet gateway has been delayed as the news has been published, and I don't know when it's going to activate. That's the first question. The second question is about the legal framework that we are currently moving on. The key important two law focus on cybersecurity domain is at MPCC we have cybersecurity law currently drafting on the way, and second one is personal data protection law that will regulate the data protection regime, especially related to PII. PII is called personal identifiable information. So for example, you go to anywhere and people ask your phone number, your name, your that, and then they selling it to someone, and then somehow you can see it in a sugar cane store that you can see your names there, blah, blah, blah. That we need to regulate it. That are the two main cyber related law at the Ministry of Posts and Telecom. The other major one as well is the cybercrime law. It's with Ministry of Interior. And based on my understanding, that might be at the final stage, and maybe we can see the light of this law within this year. What I mean, the cybercrime law will be the specialized law that focus on cybercrime matter, especially on the offense, especially on the activity that we think that it is against the law. That is we criminalize the offense. It's a supplement to the criminal code that have, but it is not enough, and it is old already. That's why we need to have a specialized law one that only solely focus on that. And inside the cybercrime law, they have offense, they have the procedures, how to do gather, collect evidence, preserve evidence, how to work with the prosecutors, how to work with the operators to collect the criminal trace record. And the other one, they're talking about the international mutual legal assistance, that they need to work with partners across the border to collect all the evidence to prosecute the bad guys. Those are some of the key highlights in cybercrime law. Okay, so you will see this kind of regulation coming up in due course, because of we are moving to the digital economy, and the digital economy will run mostly in digital world, in digital space. So we need to have a regulation that govern the digital space. Those are the three major ones, but you can expect more to come as the way, right? Yes.
Thank you so much, Professor. Would you please say a few words about ASEAN frameworks as to cybersecurity? Because as I may understood from your presentation that this this issue it's it's international. So how maybe a few words on ASEAN framework. Do we have something put on place already, and perhaps in international frameworks as well?
Yes, of course. We have especially we have two areas that we can have we can see that regional. For example, the cybercrime. Cybercrime for international one at this moment, we only have the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. It's in Europe, and it is a model. It is a model for doing the cybercrime law. Yeah, we can say that we benchmark international good practice, and it's in the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. And meanwhile, in the UN level, they also discussing about the global one. Global cybercrime agenda. So they are still discussing. They want to have a global one at the UN level, not just the Budapest that are focused in Europe, and also in ASEAN. Philippines is also also rectify the Budapest, but not the other yet. But at this moment they discuss at the UN level, and the one that but we don't have a regional one. Cybercrime, we don't have a regional one. But for regional, what we do, we harmonize. We harmonize mean the offense in Cambodia also offend in the regions. That's why it's easily for law enforcement to cooperate. We do harmonization. The other one is about the data protection. In ASEAN, we have a personal data protection framework. And also we have some guidelines in place already that ASEAN can get it and then benchmark and then adopt or benchmark to our own local legislation. And for the rest, we have APEC CDPR for the Asia Pacific for data protection. We have GDPR from the from the Europe, not UK, from the Europe in general data protection, and we have the United States California privacy. All are some regional and international instruments that Cambodia need to look at it and benchmark to align in order to harmonize, because as you are aware nowadays, business not isolated, connected and share information. So if we want to go further across the border, we need to align with the regional, or at least align with the country, the other country. That's why we need to look carefully about the cybercrime and the data protection and data sharing across the border. For cyber security, of course, we do not have a regional, or we do not have an international. It depends on the best practices of the good practices of the country that implement the law, and then everyone in the region is trying to come up to regulate this industry. Especially, I call it CII, Critical Information Infrastructure. And mostly in ASEAN, they come up with this law and they try to regulate them through the risk and compliance regime. Risk and compliance regime. We need to guide them to do cybersecurity in a good way, better way, have a clear direction, something like that. Okay, yeah, that's my answer. Hope you got some input from that.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Professor. It's a good news that we have a lot of law and regulations are on the way right now. And we have a question from Dara Patana. I hope I spelled it correctly. So the question is, due to the rise of cryptocurrency, how do we think it will be managed, or will it be taken more seriously?
Yeah, cryptocurrency is another hot topic. Some country they allow, some country they ban. like Singapore, within this week, they adopt the law to regulate it called virtual asset service operators. You can find it, and that in Singapore and in Indonesia, they start to get tax. They get taxed on virtual asset as well, virtual digital asset as well. But in terms of Cambodia, how do you think it will be managed? You know, I don't have any idea right now because it's a very new one, and also it's in still discussion and mostly related to central bank, related to the regulator, what is called regulator, the other one regulator, also it related to the stock exchange regulators. So they still discussing, debating how we need to regulate it in Cambodia for coming from, but from the time being, we can see that we are not give any green light to it yet, but we don't say it against the law, but we don't give it the green light yet. So at this moment, I can say it is exploring, and we don't encourage everyone to deal with it or to use it yet, because the risk is still high, especially for the Cambodia user. Cambodia citizen don't understand much. It's very, very challenging and problem, right? Okay. Okay, so let me, I think, okay, go ahead. Come, hey, right?
Yes, we have a question from Tang Kim Hey. Thank you for your very well explanation. I have one question to ask. We already nowadays there is a Russia and Ukraine war. So what are the consequences of using the unlicensed or cracked software or program?
You know, as I explained nations in the beginning, it's very easy. If you use unlicensed and cracked software, you open a vulnerability that you can be attacked anytime from the attacker. Or somehow they are already inside your computer, but you don't know. Because how can you know? No, you cannot know until there is a forensic specialist take your computer and then do forensic, and then they see that, oh, this malware inside. Or you might be noticed that your computer start slower and start to pop up on showing something strange. From the moment, that's it, a sign that your computer has been compromised. Okay, that just a short answer. If using crack, okay, of course, you are vulnerable to attack anytime, or you might be attacked already, but you don't know. Only to this, okay? And I go straight to the Pauline question regarding internet gateway again. I think I already respond. Yeah, I did not have any involvement in this, so that I cannot answer much on this question. Okay, and then we go to Moni Odam. My question is that, based on your perspective and long experience in cybersecurity, what is the main content you think you should be appear? What are the main content you think should be appear in our future cybersecurity law, and what should be the right? Okay, that you can download the paper I saw for my last slide. You can download it. That mention what content should be in. Okay, I'm talking about the governance. I'm talking about the licensing regime of the cybersecurity operators. I'm talking about the funding as well. I'm talking about the professional. I'm talking about the what's else, research, and also one that really important. One of the important point is about mandatory reporting cybersecurity incidents. Because you know, nowadays, when any of the industry got hacked or attacked, they never reported. So if they not reported, this attack can happen anywhere inside our country, and nobody know who got hacked by this method of the same attack. That because of there is no law require them to report. So every country in the region and internationally, they start to do the law on mandatory reporting cybersecurity incident within, for example, in the US, within 72 hours. And also recently in the US, even you pay to the ransomware, you also need to report it to the government as well, because they want to track down the criminal syndication financing source. So they can cut from the source of the finance, so they can not operate anymore. That can minimize the risk of the ransomware attack worldwide. That's the mechanism they do. Yeah, some of the content you can download. In summary, you can download the perspective and you can see it. Okay, and then I think we should rapidly call it almost 12. Thank you from the Chanimo. What critical infrastructure in Cambodia do using prone to cyber attack, and so we pay attention what should we prevent? I think at this moment the sector who are active the most in digital space, you already know, is the financial and banking sector, who are active the most in digital space. You know, payment gateway, banking, and also e-commerce. So if we want to do it for the critical infrastructure in cybersecurity compliance and risk assessment regime. But from the time being, even we do not have this law, Central Bank of Cambodia also working hard to regulate them on this as well. In Central Bank of Cambodia, we call it TRMG, TRMG, Technical Risk Management Guideline, Technology Risk Management Guideline. They do this and they give it to all commercial banks in Cambodia to follow the guideline to ensure that your security, your cyber protection is raised to the minimum bar that you can say that, okay, I'm secure by this way. But it does not mean that you 100% secure. Remember that, because somehow, you know, they think that when they follow the international standard, when they get the international standard ISO blah 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 blah, they will secure. They are secure already. No, it's not mean that. It means before your bar is at this level, but if you follow the international standard, your bar is this level. But if you do above the standard, of course, you are more secure. So it does not mean you get an ISO certificate. Oh, I don't need to do anything. I get ISO, I'm secure. No, you will get hacked tomorrow. That's it. It's only represent you have a process, very robust process in place, especially cybersecurity. You have a paper check, you have a people, you have a process, you have a mechanism to audit, you have mechanism to control, but it doesn't mean you secure. Okay, 100%. Okay, I think we go to the last question. From what I have known, government has been working on drafting cybersecurity law since 2016. Therefore, how does it take so long? No, cybersecurity law just drafting last year. What you heard is not cybersecurity law. It's cybercrime law. You know why cybercrime takes so long? I don't know as well, because as Ministry of Interior, they are the one who are drafting it. But I just guess from my perspective, technology is evolve very fast. So might be what they draft in 2016, they already changed in 2018. The criminal already changed in 2020. That's why the draft law need to be update to follow the technology evolution and to follow the attacker tactic and to follow the new emerging technology like AI, like big data, like maybe metaverse in the near future soon. That's it. Then I can think that's why the law is take time to when the law coming out, it ensure that the ecosystem can be implemented. Yeah, I think that's all. Bingo. We answer all the questions finally. Or anyone have more?
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Upanrat, for your very detailed answers to all the questions. I think we are very lucky to have Professor Upanrat today, and yeah, if we were to discuss, there would be a lot of discussions about the cybersecurity law and about cybersecurity problem, because as we know that we are heavily rely on the technology nowadays, even in our daily life basis or in our economy and stuff. So, but due to the time constraint, we have to wrap up this our webinar now, and I would like to give this floor to Paul to wrap up the webinar today. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Wee-Kim, and thank you for all the attendees to join us today. And especially thank you to Professor Panyarit to take the time to share his knowledge and his expertise on cybersecurity and of course the drafting of the cybersecurity law. So I guess in the end we will see what is the content of the law when it's promulgated, and what will be the impact on mitigating cyber risk in Cambodia. So thank you all. I wish you a very nice lunch. And also let me take this opportunity to wish you a very happy Khmer New Year next week. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yes, thanks everyone. Yeah.
Bye.
See you next time.
Thank you so much, Professor. Happy New
Thank you
Year.
so much, Professor. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy.
Oh, well, we will have certificate of appreciation, Professor, but I think we will deliver to your office. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you. Yeah, bye everyone. Have a good lunch.
You too, sir.
You too, dear Panyari. Thank you.